Hello everyone, today we will see how we recreate this beautiful header and with a drop-down menu for switching the languages with flags only with CSS and HTML. Let's go. So let's create two files. First of them is index.html and style.css. And then in index.html we will create the HTML boilerplate HTML5. It's provided by Visual Studio and you will see the template is created. And let's give it a title, language switcher. And then I am going to import the style. So link CSS already filled with Visual Studio Code. So we have now this menu. As we said, we need to structure it. So let's build the HTML based on that. So we need a navigation and two divs. So let's have the header of this page and navigation item or navigation element. And in navigation element we will have two divs. div.logo tab, it will give us with class div.language select or language menu, and with tab it will give us the div. Okay, now we have the structure. Let's add the logo. Normally the logo, it's a link to the home page. So I will have a href and inside I will have image. The source of the image is a link to the image, to my logo, locally or online. So Bluebits logo, the alternative text. So let's go now to the CSS file and edit our initial setup. So first let's select font. Normally I use import and I use Google Fonts. Google Fonts, they are on the website of Google Fonts. You can go directly there and navigate to the font which you like. And we will select the font with the style. So we have to embed the font inside our style. So we import the style CSS and automatically it will embed for us the font. So I go, for example, I selected this one, Montserrat, and there is full description about this font and who created and the license. Let's click on add this style, one of these styles we like, and I select, for example, this one, and we get the link to this font. So if you see here, we have a link inside the href and I put it inside the import URL. And another thing I have to import is normalize CSS. Normalize CSS is a library or a CSS code which initialize the browser. So it's initialize the browser, everything, all elements to initial state. So to not have conflicts between browsers when you design your template, it's better to import this normalize CSS and put it in your CSS code to have initial state of all elements of HTML. Let's add the font of the body also to the body element and some color to the font. So body, font family, I copied it, and the color, let's have, for example, 333. And let's have also the border sizing is border box. This element or this instruction in CSS, it means that when I have padding or padding of over a div or over element, the padding will not increase the size of the div. Let's run now, and then we see this result that we have big logo without sizing, initial state. So let's style now the header. We have a styling for it. As we saw, we have a background color, F2, F2, F2. And of course, height, we can give it a height, like let's say 110 pixel. And also we can give some padding to that header. So let's give from up to down 10 pixel and from right to left 0. And the logo, we have it, let's give it a size, let's say 100 pixel. This is the container of the logo. We will add now the size of the image inside the logo element. So we give it also width 100 pixel. So we can see how the logo is element and the image is inside that logo element, logo div. Let's refresh. Great, we have all elements here, but let's center the content. Let's center how we have it in the template. So how we can do that? Let's go to the style. We add navigation, nav item, and this nav item has a width, let's say 960 pixel. And of course, we can center elements with margin 0 auto. With margin 0 auto, then the element navigation will be centered inside the header. As we see here, it's centered. We have two divs, the logo and the menu. Now, let's put the menu on the right, or for example, near each other, near the logo. So we say nav display flex. Now it's near it, so the two divs are aligned together near each other. And now when I give justify content space between, then we have one component to the left and one component to the right. So we have the logo on the left and the menu on the right as we agreed. So now let's create the menu. The menu, as you see here, there is a selected element, so a selected language or a selected item, and then the menu. So let's create first the selected item with the flag near it. So we go to the code, to the HTML, we add a div with a selected language. We call it selected language. And inside this div, we will have a text English. So let's style it now in the style.css. And it will be a cursor pointer. So when I put the mouse on this item, it will be like a link. So we have to add a flag to near the text. So let's have the flag first. So for CSS, you have many options. You can add two divs, or maybe you can add annotation with before, and inside before you can have a content empty, and we will add this content or this before with a background image. A background image comes with a flag. So content is empty. Let's give it, for example, display, for example, block, because it will be like an image. And also let's give it a width, for example 32 pixel. I will tell you why it's 32 pixel, and height 32 pixel also, so it's square. And for example, let's give it a background image, and the background image I will get it from a URL. There is a website. You can provide country flags. With these country flags, you have all the flags of all countries by providing the country code and the style, and of course the size of the icon which you want. Let's pick up one of them, this example, and add it to our CSS code. And I will change this to US, United States, and flat, and 32 pixel. So that's why I have width and height 32. Now if we refresh, we have to see this flag and the text under it. We need to add them near each other. So let's have that. With the selected language, we have to say display flex. So you know the Flexbox, always aligning the divs near each other, or any alignment you need. And we have to say justify content to put space between those elements. If we refresh, great, we have now the flag and near it the text. Now language menu, let's give it a size, for example, or margin top, to align this text down a little bit. Text with the flag to be in the middle. So we can say margin top 25, and it will be in the middle as we see here. But you see there is some alignment is wrong, vertical alignment. So let's give line height of the text of this selected lang to be 2. So we see they are close to each other, but there is no space between the language and the flag. So let's add a width about 100 pixel, and because there is space between, as we said before, one element will be at the end and one at the beginning. So now let's create the menu itself, how we have it in the demo. So we have the menu and the language drop down. Let's create it. The simplest way to implement a menu is to use ULLI, unsorted list, and the list items. So in the list items, I add the link, and inside the link I put the text. Let's say, for example, German, and let's copy this to multiple languages. For example, I will add let's say French. I will add also Arabic, so, and also the original English. So we have here English, and I will add under it the French and then the Arabic. So if we go to our demo now, which we have at the beginning, we need to get that this menu is inside some white box and it has some shadow. So let's first create the white box for the UL and give it this styling. So we go to the style CSS, and then I will type the language menu inside the UL, and then I will say margin 0 just to initialize these values, and I will give padding 0 to remove all the margins and padding, the default one in the UL, because normally they come with some values. And the background color, let's say white color, and of course let's give it a border like 1 pixel solid, and let's say F2 or F8. Let's see our menu in the browser. If we refresh, we see this menu, and we notice that there is some bullet points because it's unsorted list. So let's remove this bullet points. I go to the language menu and ULLI, the LI inside the UL. I will give it list style, let's say none. And the list style, then the bullet points, they will not be displayed anymore. And we have the box. Now let's give it a shadow to this box. So in the UL, I will say box shadow. Oh, sorry, I have to put it down inside the UL. So in the UL, I have to have box shadow, and let's give it 0 pixel, 1 pixel for the distance, and 10 pixel for the blurring, and the color will be 0 and 0 and 0 for the blue, like it's a black, and the alphabet or the opacity will be 0.2. How I got this? I use normally CSS regenerator. This website, it's giving you the style, you can see it directly. So just you provide the values, and then it will give you the style immediately on the view. So you notice here that we have now this border and the CSS code which we need for that border. So you can adjust it and put it there. Now we see here the CSS applied and the box shadow. We have it now on our menu. Let's now have some styling on the list elements. So we notice there is a link inside the list item. So let's say lang menu ULLI, and inside it the link. So let's give it a width, for example 125 pixel, and for example let's give a display block, because normally it's displayed as inline, so the width will not take any effect until you say display block. And let's give it some paddings, for example 510, to make some spaces between. Nice, we have now the paddings. It's better to use paddings, not margins, to keep the mouse hover, like you can hover on all element. So let's have some effect like shadow on the when you put the mouse on the link. So I will copy this code and I will remove inside, and I will put hover. So hover, it means like when I put the mouse on the link, what will happen? Let's change the background color. So let's have background color, F2, F2, F2. Let's try it now in the browser, and we will see like it has some hover, it has some like effect when you put the mouse on the link. So we have also border radius, we have it in the demo, so let's add it to the UL. So the border radius, it's giving this curvy borders. If we refresh, we notice that we have these borders now already defined. So now let's add the flags. The flags, we add them in the same way how we did it with the selected language. So before I add again the code which I copied here. So we see that the content and the image and the width and the height, and if we refresh, we will see that we have the language already defined and with the flag, but we see that in different line. So the same as we did with the container, we can add, for example, to the li element which is containing the link and before of it. So we can say display flex and justify content space between. This is how we did it with the selected, and as we see here, it's not affected because we need to make the A as inline block. So inline block, it's like inline element and block in the same time. So we have now the selected language, but it's not aligned, so we have to add vertical align to the before, so the image go in the middle of the content and to be aligned with the text. But there is also some space. Let's add it with margin, let's say margin right. We give it 5 pixel. We refresh the page, or let's give it 10 pixel. We refresh. We notice that it's wrapping the text, so we have to make the width of the A element bigger a little bit. Let's give it, for example, 140, and we will notice that it will work. Perfect. Now we have the menu already and with the flags. So let's add now the right flags. If I go to HTML, I can give class for every A element with the desired language. So I gave to this one Deutsch, for example, to this one US, like United States, or EN. And for French, I give France, FR, and for Arabic, like let's say AE, Arab Emirates. So in this case, I also will use these codes for the flag, the URL, the API which give me the flag image. So the Deutsch, the before of it and the background image will be the same, but we change to DE. The same also for all links. US, or let's say FR, and FR here, and I put also for Arabic or AE, and AE here again, sorry. So now we have to refresh and we will see that the flags changed. That's great. So we have the right flags. Now let's make the hover, like when I put the mouse to make the pointer icon. So we have here href. It's just you have to add href to it. We notice that it's added a line because the default link styling in the browser comes with underline. So let's give to all links text decoration none. So this text decoration none, it will remove the underline. So if we refresh, great, we have now the right style of the links. So let's work now on the menu. Normally it should be not displayed. So the display of this menu will be none. And when I put the mouse over the selected language, it will give me the display. So display is none for this, and I refresh, now it's hidden. So we need, when I put the mouse on the selected language, I want to see the menu. So how we can do that? So let's go to the lang menu itself and say, when I put the mouse over it, hover, the UL will be displayed. So how we can, it's like we are talking CSS. So hover, UL, lang menu is mouse over, and the UL inside it will be displayed as block. Let's try now. Nice, we have now the UL or the menu is displayed when I hover on the selected language. So we notice there is like some jumping. This is because that the menu should have position absolute. So in this case it will not push because of the width. It's pushing the selected language. So let's give it position absolute, and let's say, for example, top 0 and left 0. And this UL now will be related to the container, to the lang menu. And this container will have position relative. So if I refresh now, we will see the top 0 and left 0. Let's remove, for example, the relative to see the difference. So in this way, the menu will not be related to the lang menu, so the container. So in this way, we see it on the top left. So let's put it back. So now the menu is related to the parent, which is lang menu, and let's give it like some top 25 pixel. I think let's add some more pixels. Let's say, for example, 40. And let's refresh. Oh, now it's good. We have it ready. So we have almost the menu is done. So we can align also the left. If you see here that it's not aligned to the left of the selected language, you can also align it to the right of that selected language. So you just replace left with right, and it will be on the right aligned. That's great. We have now the header with selected language menu. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and see you next time in the new tutorials.